Benvenuti a Spain. Welcome to Spain. I'm here in the Catalonia region to test drive this beauty. This is the all-new Aston Martin DBS Superleggera Volante, and it is the fastest four-seat convertible ever built. So Matt, what beats under this hood?
So under the hood, I'll show you, we have a V12 twin turbo engine. It's 5.2 litre in capacity, 2 turbos. It generates 715 horsepower.
Who needs that much horsepower?
We all do, we all have horsepower. And around 660 pounds-feet of torque. So it's a bit of a monster.
0 to 100 in what?
3.6 seconds to 100 kilometers per hour, 6.7 seconds to 160 kilometers per hour. Maximum speed is 211 miles per hour, which is around 340 kilometers.
Now, what about the weight of this vehicle? You know, what have you done to try to keep that weight down?
Yes, I mean, you end up with an increased mass of around 100 kilos over the coupe, fundamentally because you have to add more structure into the car, because you imagine when you take the roof away, you do take away some of the torsional rigidity of the car. So what we have to do is to put in some extra torsional rigidity into behind the rear seats, but also in the sills have to end up being structurally increased as well, because you need to increase that torsional stiffness. But also another important one is the bending stiffness of the car, because you imagine you're taking away this roof, you need to be able to support the bending stiffness.
And you opted for a soft top roof as opposed to a hard top. Is that to keep the weight down as well? Or?
Yeah, it's to keep the weight down and also visually on the car. I think it looks better, because the things, if you have some of the metal roofs and you end up with split marks in them, it's not as nice as having a fabric one, which does sort of fold away.
When you're creating this vehicle and you're working closely with designers, I mean, who gets a final say? Is it the engineer? Is it the designer? Do you butt heads?
It creates a lot of tension, professional tension, I would say. But fundamentally, the designers, I mean, an Aston Martin has to be a beautiful car, and it is a beautiful car. But what we have is we have the aerodynamicists and the thermal dynamicists working within the design studio with the designers to make sure the design they're designing is functional as well. Because you can't have a 211 miles per hour car if the aerodynamics don't work, because you need a car that has high levels of stability and high levels of dynamic performance. So they have to work together, but there is sometimes tension, but usually they manage to sort it out themselves.
We have heated debates at times. I like to think I win. But yeah, there's always a compromise. So I have to understand that you need to make these vehicles. There are, they are complicated shapes, but if we don't push, then we don't get what we want.
We look around the side of the body, and there's some beautiful lines.
So we've got this down here. This is the romance line. Again, we look at the golden section, this 70-30 split. So it helps draw your eye along the vehicle. It drops down almost like an orchestral piece. So you go up and you come down, and then you finish with a crescendo at the end. So we look at this proportion again in plan view. So you got the 70-30 again, so with the flare out to the wheel arch.
And Julian, you opted for a soft top roof.
Soft top roof. So from the coupe, this is the DB11 Volante roof, and basically had to redesign all the rear end. So, which means this is still the lowest stack height in the industry. Did a lot, you say, about heated debates with engineers. I mean, this was very much one of those. Okay. Because I didn't want anything too high. It can't look obvious, it needs to be natural. These cars, hopefully we looked on the future as classics. They have to have a timeless quality about them. So proportion to us is very important, and getting that down as low as possible was a challenge, but it works.
Ooh, that's music to my ears. Okay, let's go. Oh, Matt is right. This is a very fast and powerful vehicle. 715 horsepower, sure you don't need it, but it's nice to know when you hit that pedal, you can go with it. Along these roads, it handles the road beautifully. It hugs the road, it feels very well planted and stable. This makes for a beautiful daily driver. But my only criticism would be sort of the infotainment system here. You know, some of the functions aren't very intuitive. You have to look down and at the screen to make certain changes. And I always prefer an actual volume button over a push button like this one. Still, very easy to live with on a daily basis, and you can enjoy the sun. The roof comes down quickly in about 14 seconds, and it's a soft top, so it keeps that weight down. Now, price tag on this is a bit steep. You're looking at about $380,000.